Hi, we are back with Behind the Sign, and I have a special guest, Janelle Billigmeier. She is out of Wayzata, Minnesota. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, this episode, I wanted to bring in a new agent so that I could talk to a new agent, find out what the struggles are today. Because I was a new agent back in 2004 and five. It's a long time ago, and things have changed so much, so much. So, I was just curious when I wanted to bring on a new agent. You found me on TikTok, and my whole point was I want to provide help to you. I want to answer your questions. And then anybody else out there who's watching, they're probably feeling the same pain that you're feeling.
I'm sure.
So
So,
tell me about the market up in the Minneapolis area.
well, it it's kind of similar to it depends on where you are looking in Minneapolis, like the West Metro, like specific school districts have always been kind of not as affected by the normal ebbs and flows of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but just like everywhere else, once the interest rates went kind of what up into like almost sevens,
Yep.
it kind of it halted and kind of slowed the pricing down quite a bit.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we had
um,
the price slow down. I mean, instead of ramping up, it just kind of went like this.
yeah, that's how it was with us too. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, what do we list the price homes at and whatnot? But yeah, it went from, yeah, everybody was wanting to buy to just shut off right in
Crazy
2020.
to dead.
Yes.
Isn't it
So
crazy how quick that happened? Like it
it
just
was, yes.
dead. So how long have you been in the business?
I am going on I'm starting my third year right now.
Your
I
third year.
started, yeah, I got licensed in October 2020. So,
Got it.
and I was with like a large broker or a large team style brokerage before. So I was spoon fed my leads, which was kind of
Yep.
nice. So, and then I decided to go to Coldwell Banker, and I didn't realize how nice and how easy things were when you're fed leads versus to getting leads on your own.
Yeah.
And of
And
course, yeah.
you also got into the business at a time that we've never seen before. And so
Yeah.
like you got 20, 21, 22. You go on your own and not so when did you go on your own?
It would have been January 2022.
Okay, so you went on your own. I'm sure you had some success for that first 6 months.
Yep. I
It
had
wasn't it probably wasn't like you were, being spoon-fed leads, but you know, the market changed dramatically after that first 6 months. But that first 6 months, I felt like the phone calls were still coming in. The business isn't easy. And, that's like the thing that I talk to so many people, and this, they say that we just put a sign in the yard and we make a bunch of money and, it's all good, right? Well, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of stress behind the scenes. Even being spoon fed leads, you still got to deal with a lot of crap.
oh yeah.
And so that's the one thing that people they don't understand the amount of stuff that we have to deal with outside of just writing the offer and showing houses. But when the market gets tough, it gets a lot more difficult. Now, not only do we have the struggles of after the contract's written, dealing with all the day-to-day stuff and all the questions and issues that pop up, but now we got to try and figure out where we're going to get our next client. And
That's so
it's a
true.
massive struggle. So being now on your own. So when you were on a team, were your leads coming from a Zillow, or was it a team leader that had so much business that they just didn't have time?
They had a lot of Zillow. My previous broker also had a lot of billboards up. But I would say the majority of them were between Zillow and Realtor.com.
Okay. So spending
So,
quite a bit of money.
yep, and it took they took their splits reflected that. I know that they have made adjustments now that I'm no longer there, but yeah.
Yeah. And, coming from, I used to buy leads all the time on Zillow, and I worked it all myself. Right. So let's just say I would spend $36,000 a year with Zillow. and my revenue would be around 60 to 70. Okay. So it sounds like, okay, I'm making double my money. I'm getting, not bad, not a bad investment. But then I also got to remember all that time I spent working with all those clients accounts for something. And when I look at a team and buying leads for a team, I know I'm going to close. I know I'm going to answer those calls. I know I'm going to do all that. Now you have a team and you have to trust your team's going to answer and close, but they have to close twice as many deals as you because you got to split the money with them.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to make that make sense, especially with how much money Zillow's charging for leads now. Like in our zip code. I mean, there's agents in our market that are spending upward $10,000 a month for Zillow leads. And I just found myself consistently telling people to call their agent because they're like, oh yeah, we have an agent. Okay, cool. Well, you need to get in touch with your agent. I feel like that was 9 out of 10. You need to get in touch with your agent. So for me as a team leader, I was like, Zillow leads have really fallen off. One of the questions I ask the agents when I'm doing this is, how hot are Zillow leads? And they're like, not. So I understand their side of it, like having to take a pretty big split on that because it costs a lot of money. And if you don't close on a lot of them, it's hard to make your money back up.
Yeah. Well, they also had like an ISA team and everything else that they were supporting. So, I mean, like they would get us the appointments. And I mean, there was a few things in there that I didn't agree with, which is why I kind of left.
Yep.
But it was nice.
Sounds like a machine.
It was a machine. Yeah.
Is it the billboards that you see as you drive up the interstate?
I'm pretty sure.
Like something about buying your house or
guaranteed offer.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's trademarked, I think. So I can't say.
Well, I'm not going to mute it out, but hey, I've seen it like all over the place. And I those types of companies, and I'm not in there, so I can say what I want and you can plead the fifth, but those type of companies that offer up buying houses and stuff, if I'm ever working with a seller and they get that type of an offer, say it's a wholesaler calls them up and they say, hey, we'll buy your house cash. There's almost no question I can list their house and sell it quickly and still get them more money than they would ever get with those guaranteed offers, with those buy your house for cash, just because they can't take that risk. So they have to come in well below. And it's a good way to get the call, get the listing, sell it before you ever have to buy it.
Definitely. And I mean, like their whole thing is that they want the listing more than to do the offer. But there was at one time, it was very advantageous to accept those offers because it was more than what we could have listed their houses for
really
for a very, very small window. Yes. Yeah.
And that's probably about the same window that bit Zillow in the butt with the Zillow offers.
It's probably, I think it was right after that.
Yeah, because
like, how are they doing this?
Yeah, you put offers on if you base offers off statistics, you're going to end up losing because you don't know what's in those houses, and the people that need to dump those houses probably don't take the best care of your house.
Yeah.
So, and that's personal opinion, but so what now? Okay, let's fast forward to now you're on your own.
Now I'm on my own. I've been Oh, go ahead.
Where are you trying to get your leads?
I decided like after having to pay a lot for like the realtor leads and stuff like that. It's through Up City. I decided I really just kind of want to find my own leads and kind of go through past referrals. And thankfully I do have a few that are coming through as referrals, and that's kind of like January is already off to a good start. It's already better than 2022. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So the market's definitely picking up again, but, so I'm kind of trying to get them from my open houses and, so I've been just hosting a lot of open houses and then kind of working my sphere, but I don't want to be the aggressive, like, hey, I'm the realtor here. Cause I have many friends that are realtors as well. So
that's crazy. Funny. I just got a text message from an agent It's hard in this business because here in Des Moines, we have like 3,400 realtors and we have 2,600 homes for sale. Like if you put it just doesn't make sense. Right. So everybody has a ton of friends that are realtors, and I'm with you as far as like not trying to overburden my sphere, my people, with the fact that I want, referrals from them. And yeah, I have a real estate coach, and coaches tell you nonstop. They tell you to call your sphere. You need to get on the horn, make calls, make calls, make calls. That's really a tough thing to do. I mean, just calling your sphere all the time. It's tough.
Well, half the time they don't want to pick up the phone.
Right.
Although I have changed. I am now more of I rather get a phone call than a text now.
Yep.
So I have changed because it's easier for me to call than text now. So.
Yeah. And as we get more of the junk mail text messages, it'll start to, go back to the good old phone calls. But as far as like referrals, when you talk about referrals, are they just from people who bought homes from you, or are they just from your friends, family? Like, where are you focusing?
I'm looking at people that have bought homes from me. So I'm using Reminder Media now, their magazine, which has actually helped. I've gotten 2 referrals based off of that. Basically, they're like, "Oh yeah, she helped us find our house." So I've seen some benefit from that.
It's a magazine that gets put into the house, or that gets sent to your clients for free, and your name's on it. You just pay like a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one that's called Lifestyle, I think, or something like that.
American Lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the Good to Be Home one. So
yeah, cool.
Same company. Yeah.
So those are some things. One of the things that I heard you say was open house. I feel like 2023 is going to be the year of the open houses. And I like holding open houses, I believe, and I don't do a whole lot of them. I've got 5 kids and I've been in the business for almost 20 years. So it's like hard to get myself out to open houses, but that's going to be one of my focuses this year. And I hate to think that, hey, look, I'm going to get back into open house. It's hard for me to think that after how many years, but I just feel like this year is going to be the year where people are going to be out looking at open houses, and it's going to be a good place to capture clients.
Yeah.
Do you guys just do them on Sundays, or what's your open house schedules?
I typically try to do 2 to 4 on Sundays, but typically it will be Saturdays and Sundays. A few agents have been like doing some on off days of the week, like Thursdays or Fridays in the evening, and have been having great success with that as well. So it's just trying to catch people before, well, probably in Minnesota, before people start going up north for the weekend.
Yeah. So. Well, we have Sunday open house from 1 to 4. That's our standard. And, oftentimes I'll tell some of the team members, go out, hold one on Saturday, because what happens, people drive around on Saturday, then they come back on Sunday. But if they're out driving around on Saturday, they'll be like, oh, well, let's just stop now. And then you get them before all the open house traffic gets them, before they go 4 other open houses, and you get a chance to talk to them first. Yeah. But being creative is one of the things that's helped me throughout my career. And by being creative, it doesn't mean, it's a broad term, but thinking outside of the box, thinking, okay, what can I do that's going to get me in front of the most people? And what am I going to do that's going to get people to trust me, capture those leads? And, you've seen me on TikTok. Obviously, that's where you found me. TikTok was one thing that I started a long time ago. I followed my kids. I'm like, okay, I know that my kids, and here's the creative part of that, I know that my kids are the next generation of buyers. So if I can get strong in this area, in 5 years from now, that might generate those buyers because they remember me when they move back home and they want to buy a house and start a family. So like trying to think outside of the box is where I really am looking forward to in 23. I know our inventory is very low here. Is yours?
Yes, extremely, especially in the West Metro.
Isn't it crazy how we see like I get so much hate on my TikToks from people from, all over the place. And they're like, oh, market, whatever, whatever. I'm like, no, what you don't understand. We don't have any homes.
No, there's
Like it
nothing
is
else.
so short. And so I look at that and I say, okay, if we don't have many homes, majority of ours is new construction. Do you guys have a lot of new construction up there?
Yeah, we do. And people, yeah, we do have a lot of new construction. That's kind of like a pain point in the West Metro. It's like, okay, you're building another new development. We don't have enough room in our schools for this. So
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
you
sure if you
got
have the same thing.
if you got new construction, then that means the price is up here
Yeah.
because they just can't build them for price down here. So one of the places you're probably really struggling is with lower price homes, starter homes.
Yeah. And then nobody wants those homes because they're the starter home and they want the 2-story with 3-car garage and the walkout. They want the new
Yep.
construction price at the starter home price. So it's really hard.
And so for us, there's a huge market for the affordable house because there just isn't any out there. And there's a ton of pent up buyers that have been wanting them for so long, they just haven't been able to get one. So it without, let's just go into like for 200,000 and below, our inventory is really, really low. Even townhomes are being built for 250,000 around here. So for my mind, I say, okay, what would be the number one target for me to try and go get listings? It would be all the townhomes and all the starter homes in town because we don't have any. So I know that if I go to them, I could probably show them that they're going to be able to get more for their house than what they might think. It's going to sell really quick, and then it'll create them as a buyer. And those are the buyers that, so our inventory is like 60% new construction. We have a lot of new homes that are built right now. So there's inventory out there for those people to move into. It's just a matter of having that conversation with them or getting them to call you. How do you find them? What do you do? So like targeting these people in these niches is really difficult. And there's different apps out there where, you can get phone numbers and pay for that. Do you pay for any of those?
Our brokerage actually has a list of that we can access for free though.
Oh, that's nice.
It's included in our monthly fee. So
One of the things I used to do is I'd Facebook door to door. That's what I called it. So back in the day when you could Facebook message anybody and they would get it in their regular inbox, I would get on the assessor page, find them on Facebook and send them a message.
I like that idea.
But that's like, as far as like townhomes, that's going to be a target for me because I would like to get as many listings as possible. They always say the real estate agent with the listings is the one who's winning. For me, like I'm trying to think, okay, where do I know I can find them? And so I've been writing letters. I wrote one letter on my stationery that, says, hey, if you ever want to talk about real estate, blah, 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 blah. I wrote it in blue ink, got a good copier, copy it. So it looks like a handwritten letter. And then I handwrite every envelope because you're more likely to open an envelope that's handwritten
Yeah.
than you are that's, printed on or stamped. So that's one area that I'm like really trying to focus on. And I think that over time, we'll probably start to make some traction there. But not quitting is the big thing.
Yeah, that's huge.
How many different, when you say you're going for your sphere, how many different ways are you trying to reach them?
Right now, basically right now I'm trying to get back out and be more active and involved with the community again. Otherwise I'm reaching out through the magazine again. And then what else? I volunteer and phone calls and text
Yeah.
messages. So yeah.
So on social media, how much do you utilize the social media side of things?
That's one of my resolutions is that I need to get better at posting more consistently and frequently and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I haven't been very often, or I haven't been posting very often, I should say.
Yeah,
So,
So social media is an absolute grind. I can say that I don't really get many people that call me directly off of it, but I know that I'm touching my sphere. I think stories is a really big thing. One of my rules is I want to have at least 5 to 7 stories a day that are, a couple of them might just be fun, but I like to just give good information. I know that at the end of every day, we post the numbers of listings and the number of sales and, just from the hot sheet. So it does a couple things for me. Every day we post the hot sheet numbers, which refreshes that in my mind. So if I'm talking to a client, I'd be like, yeah, did you see we had 71 pendings yesterday and only 20 new listings? Just simple comments like that gives you instant credibility. And so if you're watching those numbers every day, you post them on your page every day. I know I've got different builders that watch my stories just to see what the numbers were for the day.
Yeah.
I know I've got clients that look just to see the numbers for the day. So like little stuff like that, if you can find a niche with statistics, that's just a simple story. I had a couple marketing people that I hired just to do stories and they really struggled with it. And I'm like, don't overthink it.
And that's my thing is I think I overthink way too much. I'm like, oh, I need to have it. If it's not perfect, I don't want to do it.
That's the number one reason why people don't post is because they overthink stuff.
I just need to start posting and I should.
It's hard, isn't it?
I know. And like, the thing is like my spouse is, what does he do? He's a data scientist. So he lives and breathes numbers. I should just be like, okay, let's get the data scientific.
Give me every day. I'm gonna give you like 8 numbers and you do something cool with it and then I'll post it.
Yeah. Well, it used to be that like before I got into real estate, he would be like, oh, I think this is a good price for this house or whatnot. And he would kind of like price out which houses we should do. And we kind of sold our before, again, I was in real estate. We used one of our friends to sell our house, but we came up with the numbers and everything because our friend was in the West Metro at the time, and that was in a different side of the cities. And we're like, we don't want to drive an hour to go check on our rental property anymore. We just need it gone.
Yeah.
But he came up with the pricing and everything went well. So
just by doing the data, looking at the data,
the data. Yeah. So I just use the data that we have. So, and I feel like I get fairly close with what appraisers do and whatnot. But.
Yeah. And like coming up with a niche, like if I were to say, what's your niche? Do you know what your niche would be?
Oh, I've done it all. I really like helping people find like I really like the next step up buyer home, the step up buyers.
Okay.
Or if they're looking for like farmland or something like that, I liked helping those buyers as well.
So I would say like for you, like as far as social goes, dig in on that. Mm-hmm. Like even if you just came up with like something really quick for step up buyers, like, oh my gosh, are your kids grown up now? You don't need a nursery anymore. And then boom, maybe we should start, like little things like, hey, are you ready to move up because of this? Or if you're having this issue, maybe it's a good time you step up, like just come up with little things that meet what your niche is or what the things that you really, really like. And it's a lot easier to post them because you enjoy it, know it, right?
I live it, right? No.
Right. We always want to step up, right?
Yeah.
So as far as like social media, do you find yourself more of a writer? Do you like to be on camera more? Do you like photography?
I do I like the photography side of it, but I am trying to step out more and be like beyond the camera or beyond the camera more. So kind of that's just one more touch point with your base.
Yep. So a couple things on that. When you're doing videos, it's really hard. You said it's got to be perfect. I heard you say something like that. When you're doing videos, it's some of the videos I watch the most of are when they're clip. The key is the second the word comes out is when it starts, and when the word ends, it stops. But you could literally like Say something here, stop it. 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 And then just blend it all together. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And
Yeah.
then, like, I have a videographer and he loves things to flow, and he's an artist, right? There's a lot of times, especially on TikTok and on Reels, where I don't need it that way. I want it actually to be authentic. I want it to actually be clipped short clips where it doesn't have a transition. It doesn't look pretty. It's just boom, 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 boom. Because that's what you and I watch when we're scrolling. Those are the things that catch us, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So, like, if you have you could write a whole paragraph out and do one line at a time, or and put the emotion with each line, and boom, 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 and it's done. But finding your niche and doing it in your niche is a lot easier because you enjoy it.
Yeah. And I still have to get out to like do some of the clips that I want to do yet. It's just more or less finding the time because, like you said, you have 5 kids, I have 4, so it keeps you notice. So
the time. So I committed myself to do 365 videos this year. Like, and by that I mean one a day.
Yeah.
I'm still I think yesterday I might have posted 3, but like the videos itself, once you get into it, they take like 2 or 3 minutes. Once you start doing it, you get the idea in your head, you know what you're going to say, shoot the video, boom, cut it, done. And now the hardest part for me is actually writing up what it is. Like, like when you go on and you type up your words and your hashtags and all that kind of stuff, that takes just as long as it does for me to actually film it.
Yeah. And I wish that I guess I just do everything from my phone, but I need to like create the little hashtag note card so I can just grab it and go.
Right. Yeah. Put it all on your computer so you can copy and paste certain ones.
Yeah.
But no, one of the things that I use my TikToks for, and there's times I do so many videos. I'm kind of unique. I do so many videos. I have so many, and I'm trying to think of an example. I've had somebody ask me a question about, should my house be doing this? Or no, actually, like someone had frost on the inside of the windows when it was like negative 10 degrees out. And I'm like, it's normal. It is. And I'm like, yeah. And I send them my TikTok. Like I find the one that I talk about it on a TikTok and I send it to them. So having all those videos is kind of nice because I'm like, here you go. And they look at it and it was from a year ago. So I'm not just full of crap, right? I'm like, this is actually really what happens. So like having that library is good. But one of the things that I've also learned is when clients ask you questions, it's content. That's like true. Someone asked me a question like, hey, why does my window have frost on the inside of it? Well, I know the answer to that. I should do a video on it. Like I do a video on that one. I'll do a video on that. I'll do a video on that. You know, your kid does something that reminds you, oh, I'll do a video on that. Like something cleans up. I got this special trick on how to clean something. There's so many opportunities to do videos. You just have to open your mind and just open your heart and just be and just be willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not sure if you have to do the same thing, but in Minnesota, we have to rake our roofs to keep the snow, so to prevent ice dams. So that's a huge one. So next time we get a huge snowfall, I might take a video of that.
Absolutely. And how old are your kids?
I have a 3 to 11 years old.
3 to 11. So the 11-year-old would love to film for you.
I'm sure he would. They tried doing their own TikTok, so they would love it.
It's funny. I had when I started on TikTok, I had teenage daughters, and they were like, "No," and I'm just so competitive. I'm like, I bet you I'm going to be TikTok famous before you are. And it was like my 5th post that had like 900,000 views, and they went from being like, "Cringe, Dad," to, "Oh, you're TikTok famous." So it's kind of funny.
I like that.
I don't even know what that means, but I mean, to them I was, which was funny. Yeah.
Well, and now I have some friends that they're like, "Oh, well, I have so many followers. I have to watch what I do now because my kids are getting to this is one of my
Hi,
One
buddy.
of my little guys, they're supposed to be in school all day, but he decided to
Yep.
come home early. So,
It's
but
that time of year.
yeah, well, he just wanted to be home an extra day, I think.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, because you had yesterday off.
They had yesterday off. So, yeah.
That's a that's a struggle as a real estate agent, isn't it?
To get, when the kids have school off and
Yeah,
with
because
daycare or anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because and my wife's also a real estate agent, so she ends up getting stuck with a lot of that. But like, it is tough because we don't have like you must be at work, you must be in the office, and so it's like so you get to stay home with the kids, but it's like I have stuff to do. Like,
Yeah, there's a few other events I had going on this morning, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess you get to come with me. So I always joke, my clients have a lot of my clients have met this one, and he's been with on so many. I joke that he's my assistant,
yep,
but
yep. We take our kids. Our kids, I sit in the car. Like even when my daughter was like she's 6 now, but when she was like 4, she's like, I don't want to go again. Like, sorry, you got to come. You just sit in the
yeah,
car and watch your show. We'll be out shortly.
yeah.
But
I mean, they love. Well, he loves coming, and the clients actually love it. Well, I always make sure it's okay with the clients that
yep,
if it's okay that I bring them, and
yep,
they've they've always loved it when he comes. I joke that he sold more houses than I have. So
yeah. Well, I mean, and it might also get that client from not asking you to go show them houses when it's not necessary.
yeah,
Like, I know you're not going to buy that house. Yeah, but can I see it? They might respect the family if they know the family.
yeah. Well, and yeah, or they just like seeing your kids so much that
Hey, can we do it again? Can we come over for dinner this time?
yeah. Well, he's invited himself to a few events that the clients have been doing too.
Yeah. So
It's not.
when when you touch with your clients,
Mhm.
how much of that happens through your kids' events?
Actually, I haven't taken too many from my kids' events. So I only have one that's really active in sports right now. But yeah, not too many. It's all been through past referrals and
Yeah.
open houses.
I have not. All my kids are in sports and I've not ever really gone that route. But the one thing I do know is a lot of the parents know me through my social media before I meet them,
Okay, that's good to.
just
I
because of that volume, the amount of social
Yeah,
media that I do.
you are very active on social media. I need to be more active on it. At the same time, I get really self-conscious about doing the social media as well. So
Yeah, and I struggle with it because like I look at my camera roll and I look at my Instagram feed and I'm like, man, I'm such a narcissist. And I know deep down I'm not. I know I'm doing it for a reason, but like you really have to be okay putting yourself on everything. And I'm like, I don't want people to think that of me, but it's gonna happen because I do a lot of videos and I do a lot of, pictures. I can promise you though, if I wasn't in real estate, you wouldn't see me on camera hardly at all.
and that's like how I feel as well. It's like, oh, I don't want people thinking I'm a narcissist, but then at the end of the day, like that's how we're going to get our business too, right?
What
So
other
it's
profession do people put their pictures on their business cards?
professional athletes, all right?
Right. They're like nobody, like this is my wife's card, right? We put our pictures on our cards.
Yeah.
I mean, you pick up any other business card and they don't have pictures on it.
Yeah.
So it's so unique to our industry that our face has to be on everything just for brand recognition.
Yes.
And so like I said, on my personal Facebook and my personal Instagram, I hardly ever post. And if it is, it's of my kids and their accomplishments, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to work, I know that like I have to be my biggest megaphone. Like I got to put myself out there in order for other people to want to pick up and do the same thing that I do for myself. Finding those people out there that will be your cheerleader and they know how to refer people is absolutely the best thing you can do. Do you have like one client that sends you more than anybody else?
Not right now. I think hopefully after I have one client that's looking, and hopefully after that transaction goes through, I'll have more from
Finding
that person.
finding that personality that someone has, that where they talk to everybody,
Yeah.
and like if you have a friend on Facebook Marketplace, you always see them on Facebook Marketplace. They're always chiming in on stuff. Like those, they're gold for your business. I've got a client, she is a rock star. Every time there's a post, she's tagging me in it. Someone like, I need a realtor. Boom, she tags me in it. And then she'll text me, hey, I tagged you in this post. Hey, it's like they want to be a part of your business. And it's
I love
awesome.
those
Like,
people.
yeah. And I treat her well. I mean, obviously you can't, how do you not, right? Like she refers me 5 to 6 people a year.
That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So those type of people, if you can understand that characteristic that somebody has, and then really, take care of those people and focus on them. I mean, I think like when it goes to calling your sphere, if you just had 10 people every year, or 10 people in your sphere that you call consistently, but that they're going to give you 2 referrals a year, that's 20 sales. Like that's an amazing chunk of business.
That's huge. Yes.
So that is like, for me, when I call my sphere, it's a pretty small network of people, but I interact with most of them through social media.
Okay.
Like, and that's been my number one way to touch my sphere, because I don't like making phone calls.
Sorry. Oh goodness, life with kids, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't like making phone calls as much either, but I have trained myself to start doing the phone calls. But I do like the idea of touching them more through social media.
But that only comes with more posts.
Yeah.
Like the idea of having, did they call me because they saw me on Zillow? Did they call me because they saw me on Facebook? Was it a referral? Was it a newspaper ad, or not magazine or whatever? A lot of times it's multiple sources. Like they called me because they saw me on Zillow, but they also have seen me on Facebook. And so those two combined gives them that name recognition to where like, oh, I'll call that guy because I saw him on Facebook, but they found me on Zillow, right? Like,
so, do you still do your Zillow advertising and stuff like, or minimal? Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of just want to cut it completely off. I think I'm paying $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's what it is here too. Well, to be in our zip code sold out, so like the nearest here is like a half hour away, and I'm just like, I don't want to be out in that market as much. And it's a different market than what I'm used to. I know it a little bit just because I have friends out there, but at the same time, yeah, I don't want to be, it's just a lot of mileage on our car for possibly not even a sale.
Right. And so, like I said, with Zillow, I think there's so many better ways to go about it than to spend money on Zillow. Now, Zillow is the best place to search. It's the easiest place, whatever. And you're going to miss some people because they're going to go on Zillow and click a link. And next thing you know, someone that you were about to sell a house to is talking to somebody already, and you lose them. I mean, it'll happen. But I think at the end of the day, if you're making your phone calls and doing that and maybe boosting social media a little bit, don't be afraid to spend money on social media. Think of this, right? You do a post on Instagram, just a self-promotion. And instead of paying $1,000 a month to Zillow, you spend $1,000 a month on Instagram. How big of an effect will that have on that social page?
Well, it'd be pretty significant.
Right? Or Facebook. Because like right now, like I'll have agents be like, well, I put $20 on Facebook. I'm like, why don't you put $200 on Facebook?
Yeah,
because 20 is not going to get you far.
No, yeah, that's true.
Reallocating that money, or say you do $500 on Instagram and you save $500 a month to go take care of your top 5 clients.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even when you're like boosting things, like I boosted a listing I just had, and I think it reached 3,000 people, which is
Mhm.
pretty good for
Yep.
that was between Facebook and Instagram. And I
Yep.
thought that was pretty decent for like 3 days worth of leads, or 3 days. I didn't get
Yep.
any leads from it, but at
Yeah.
least it
But
got the message
I
out
mean,
there.
you were in front of 3,000 eyes. That's the key.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the better it is. And so when you on your post, do you go back and check out the likes and then invite people?
Oh, no, I haven't.
So on your computer, if you go back into that post on Facebook and you click on it, and then you go into the likes and you click on it, it tells you everybody who liked it. Next to their name, it should tell you,
If you can
like, do you
invite
want
them.
to invite them?
Okay, I used to do that. I used to have a photography business before I did this, and that page is still fairly active, and I still get people on that, but I don't do that anymore. So
That was I started my Facebook page in 2013, and that was back when you'd put $20 on it and get in front of 20,000 people.
yeah, I
It
love
was
that. I miss that.
ridiculous. And so I would go through and I'd put as much money. I was broke. I'd put as much money as I possibly could on it. And then everybody who liked it, I was like, oh, invite, 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 invite. I got to the point now where like most people have already been invited. Like, you know, 10 years later and, thousands of dollars have been boosted. Like you get in front of a lot of people. The only
Yeah,
bad thing is they've switched up the posts in Facebook to now you have to check the equal housing box.
you can't target the
Yeah, the
select areas
special
that
category in housing. Otherwise, they don't let you boost it. It's kind of a
yeah.
bummer. Kind of a bummer, but
Yeah. Well, and it's like a certain area. It's like, well, I don't know that area as well as this area.
yeah,
So you kind of want to stick with your niche areas as well. So
absolutely. Especially in a big metropolitan area like Minneapolis.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived on both sides of the city, so or all three sides. I'm not familiar with the South Metro, but I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but
Where are you from in the area?
I'm originally from Blaine, which is a north metro, I would say.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yeah, I'm pretty
now,
familiar. I've got my family. I had cousins that graduated from Anoka,
okay,
and
yeah,
then my brother living in Plymouth. He lives right
yeah,
on Trenton Lane.
okay, yeah. So yeah, and Plymouth is so large that like, yeah, I always say like I live in West Plymouth because it's like we're right on the border of Medina and Wayzata, so it's um where if you live in North Plymouth, then it's like it's almost a 20-minute drive to get there. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you live in Plymouth. Maple Grove's like right next door." I'm like, "No, we're closer to the
the
south
other
side
side
of
of
that.
the other side of Plymouth.
We're on the other side." So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm here in Ankeny, and I have three daughters that their mom lives on the southwest side of town. I live on the northeast. And if
Okay.
they forget something, it's a half hour. It's 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back. Like
Yeah.
just driving through town takes forever.
Yeah. So is that close? No, you're not near. So you do also new construction, a lot of new construction, right?
Yeah.
Or how did you get into that?
Yeah. So new construction was something that just kind of came to me early on in my business where I just enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And I talked to an agent he was the number one agent for Coldwell Banker. I think, if not in the country, at least in the Midwest. He did about 50 million a year with a lot of business. And he just told me, he's like, hey, when you have nothing to do, go walk through new construction home sites. Just go start walking through. Because here, we only have one national builder that just came, but back then it was all local builders. So they all were represented by realtors. They
Yeah.
weren't in-house stuff. But he's like, just go walk through them. And he's like, because here's a couple things. You're going to learn the inventory. So if someone calls you up and asks you about a house, there's a chance you might have walked through it and you know it. So you're going to have instant credibility because you know it.
Mhm.
The second thing is who's usually on the job sites? The builder.
Yeah.
And he's like, so don't go there trying to snipe a builder from another real estate agent. But over time, as you go and they start to meet you and you start to know them, then when it does come time for them to switch or they start thinking, hey, we need to make a move, they might remember you. And sure enough, over years, like I know just about every builder in town. Being on the job sites helped me understand, and working with builders throughout the years, I learned construction. And then my social media is a huge thing. Like the fact that I'm all over social media, every builder wants their stuff to be seen by people, and use an agent that is all over social media, that builder is going to be marketed everywhere. So all those things kind of combined has really kept me in the new construction, but it's only makes up about 10% of my business.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of like, so we've had a lot of agents that also rep for builders, and they're like, well, we haven't had any models to show or to host for opens or anything like that either. So they've actually been really struggling, because at one point for 2022, they didn't have the models open, and now they can't sell the models that they finally have like 2 spec builds done that they're hosting. So
well, so basically, and it sounds like that's what happened in Minneapolis, like it did here. Everybody was short on supplies. No one could keep up. And finally they got a little breathing room. They started all the homes, and then rates went up right as they finished them.
Yep.
So now we have all these spec homes that are complete that aren't selling.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, they have them complete. Even in Minneapolis, like a lot of builders are greatly discounting a lot of their new builds. So
yeah, because they need to get rid of that expensive inventory so they can start the new ones.
Yeah. So,
but once that's done, like we've drawn back like 75%. Like typically they put a bunch of holes in the ground in November so they can work on them through the winter so they're ready in the spring. Well, with everybody finishing homes as the rates went up, the builders didn't start new specs. No, and now, just like you said, you're having a busy January. We're starting to see a lot of activity, and the spec homes have dropped in price. We're going to see all these spec homes sell. And then the spring hits and they didn't put any holes in the ground.
I'm really worried because we're going to have another inventory shortage. We're already short on inventory, and we're going to have another inventory shortage. Yes. It's like, and then I hear like this one person, I mean, they're in a different country, but they're like, oh, there's going to be a mass inventory increase in like the next 5 years. And I'm like, right now we're going through such an inventory shortage that we can't focus on that. Like, I'm like, there's no way right now. So
100%. And it might be different, like in Arizona. I know Arizona's been hit pretty hard, and like maybe some of the coastal states, but not here in the Midwest. It's so safe. Like, I have to do a video for an event coming up, and the video is going to be exactly that. Here in the Midwest, we're safe. Buying a home, it's a safe investment. We don't have the fluctuations that they have on the coast. So if you want to buy a home, call me. If you want to talk about the market, if you want to invest in real estate, let's have a conversation.
Well, and everyone's like bringing it back like 2008 market. And I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's like, so we just need to, I think that's the biggest reassurance that people need, is that this is not the same thing as 2008. So.
And we can say it, and on social media, I just get blasted. I put a few things out there, and like I had a video that had like 20,000 views, ton of comments, and everybody saying, yeah, right, blah, blah, blah. Oh man, I am so excited to stitch my own video. Like in March, because I said in March, I said in February and March, I'm betting we see a slight reduction in interest rate. And if we do, we're really going to struggle with inventory. All the inventory is going to get bought up, and we're not going to have anything to fill in the backside because people have 3% interest rates. They're not listing their home, and builders didn't put holes in the ground. It's going to be a struggle, and we're going to have the same problem. And oh man, I got blasted, but I just can't wait to stitch it and be like,
Well, I mean, if January is any sign, I feel like our spring market has already hit, and it's not even Super Bowl Sunday, that's usually our kickoff to the spring market is Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not sure if it's the same in Iowa or not.
I always about the second week of January. So right now is about that time, and we're definitely seeing a pickup. I mean, for the last month and a half, 2 months, we've seen per day about 15 to 20 homes go under contract. And now we're seeing like 60 to 70, which is more than we saw in July and June of last year. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's not going to take long for our inventory to go right back to where it was.
No, I don't know. And now it's like more or less, there's a lot of people that are wanting to step up there, but they're like, oh, we have that 2% interest rate, but
Yep.
we want to be, they're finally like, okay, rates have kind of normalized. They're ready to move and they're okay with.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah, the
That's
house is worth it. So
that's what I've been saying. People are just they're gonna settle in. They know rates aren't going back to 3%. 5% to 5.5% is not a terrible rate. Let's just do it.
yeah.
So, and you know what? The one thing that we know is people always buy homes.
Yes, that's true.
The important thing is how do we get in front of them and how do we become their agent? And that's, I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think social media and open houses are the two things that are going to get you there.
Yeah.
That and relationships.
I think that's very true as well. So, and that's kind of why I've been, volunteering is very important to me, getting out there, just kind of building that trust with my clients and just letting people know that we're there for them is the biggest thing.
Yeah, just stay relentless.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah. That's one question I do have for you. What CRM do you use?
We use Lion's Desk.
Okay.
There's so many of them.
There are so many.
Better using them. I don't
like,
touch it. It's not my thing. If I were alone, if I didn't ever hire an assistant, I would never use a CRM. I wouldn't even use a calendar. I didn't even use a calendar until I got forced to use a calendar. And then I started missing appointments. That I'd put it in my calendar and I'd be like, oh, it's in my calendar. I won't forget. And then I'd never look at my calendar and then I'd miss an appointment. I'm like, if I never put it in my calendar, it'd be right here the whole time and I'd get there. But no, I have my assistant. She set us up on Lion's Desk. She put together the drip emails, the campaigns that go out to everybody. There's times where I'll chime in and say, hey, do this, send an email out to everybody saying this. But having that in place has probably helped a lot. She also helps with our client appreciation parties because I'm just not good at that stuff. I just go this direction as fast as I can. And, the dust settles behind me and I just don't look back. But if I've got my assistant, Dora, she takes care of all that back there and keeps me in touch on the backside. My social keeps me in touch on the front side. So it's a pretty good combination, making sure we reach out to people on the backside too.
Do you guys have any fun client appreciation events that have been very successful or what's your most successful client appreciation event?
One that would have been highly successful was we'd rent the pool, our aquatic center. It was like $2,000 for 2 hours. And then anybody could come swim, right? And it was just us. So the problem is we got hit with bad weather almost every time. So that kind of sucked. But we've also rented out a theater and that went well. I think we got Frozen or Frozen 2, one of those. And that was a good hit. One thing that we've been doing for the last 3-4 years is we rent out a pumpkin patch, or we don't rent it out, but the pumpkin patch, we have a table up front. We send emails out to everybody and they say they're coming and this is how many people, and we buy them all tickets in. Nice. And that's been pretty successful this year. The weather was kind of crummy, so it wasn't the greatest, but I mean, you have the consistent people come to this stuff all the time and they love it. And it's definitely worth it. It gives you a chance to talk to people again they haven't seen in years, and it gets you referrals. They bring up, hey, can I bring my cousin? Sure. Their cousin, they're like, yeah, they're thinking about buying a home, it definitely pays off.
That's how we found our realtor, was through his, he used to host an annual Memorial Day event. And so we ended up signing up. We went to it and signed up with him, and he found us our house very quickly and was very aggressive. So, yeah,
I would say if time goes, it's worth investing. If you're not going to spend $1,000 on Zillow, it's worth investing $500 a month in doing a good party for the people that you do have that will show up, even friends and family. Invite everybody. My daughters, right? Can I bring a friend? Yeah, bring all your friends. because they're going to tell their parents, and their parents are going to remember, Shibe real estate team. Oh yeah. Shibe's had my daughter. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like all of it's worth it. The more you can get your name out there, the better.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes spending money can be difficult, but if you do it for the right reason, it's probably going to pay you back. The number one piece of advice I can give any agent is be active. As long as you're doing something, the universe will pay you back. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to put your faith into that. But part of walking through new construction homes and not getting anything from it is that it's going to pay off. I can't tell. I don't know how it's going to pay you back, but just being active, all of a sudden your phone's going to ring.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. So, but hey, I am going to wrap this up because it's been about an hour.
Yeah, sounds good.
But we have an open line of communication now. So if you ever need anything, reach out. I'll be posting this on YouTube, and then I might cut it up into some sections on TikTok. So